Hello there. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Michael Breaux. I'm a solutions architect with Logicworks. And today I'm going to be talking about how to implement a secure and scalable foundation in AWS by leveraging AWS Control Tower. First, I'll talk a little bit about what Control Tower is. Then I'll talk about why your organization might benefit from AWS Control Tower. I'll go over the basic structure of an AWS Control Tower deployment and talk about the different components. After that, we'll move on to some best practices so that you can get the most out of your AWS Control Tower deployment. Then, I will review a Control Tower deployment that Logicworks has designed and built for one of our customers, 6th Street. After all of this is done, I'll be available to answer questions in the chat. Before all of that, let me tell you who Logicworks is and what we do. Logicworks is a cloud services provider and premier consulting partner in AWS. We offer a full spectrum of services ranging from migrations to modernization and ongoing operations to customers in highly regulated industries like healthcare, financial services, and software as a service. We have a number of competencies in AWS, including migration, DevOps, managed services, security, and several others. And we are consistently a go-to map partner in the ecosystem. Additionally, we are internally audited for HIPAA, HITRUST, PCI, SOC 1, SOC 2, ISO 27001, and due to the nature of our customers, we also do a considerable amount of work in GDPR. So what is Control Tower? AWS describes Control Tower as follows. AWS Control Tower offers a straightforward way to set up and govern an AWS multi-account environment following prescriptive best practices. Essentially, AWS Control Tower is a solution that simplifies the automation process of setting up and configuring multiple accounts in your AWS deployment. It provides a prescriptive, secure multi-account environment and is a great starting point for large-scale AWS migrations. Why might you ask? Because Control Tower automates the build-out of new accounts and services with predetermined guardrails and settings for each account. This means that you'll easily be able to expand your footprint over time as your organization and product sets grow. Control Tower allows you to define a baseline for each account while providing separation of concerns between different SDLC tiers, applications, business units, or any other segmentation you might desire. And finally, last but certainly not least, it limits your threat exposure by minimizing the footprint in any given account. Control Tower simplifies governance over multiple accounts, works well for organizations who separate accounts by team, project, or SDLC tier. It benefits SaaS providers by allowing them to separate accounts by client. Scalability of modular applications or SDLC tiers. This allows an organization to stand up and or scale out SDLC tiers using centralized standards. This will also provide the ability to scale out modular applications to meet the needs of the business. Administrative isolation between workloads. It enables network isolation, ensuring that services and applications in one account aren't directly impacted by others. This also allows an organization to isolate environments and minimize resources in scope for auditing purposes. By managing separate accounts and isolating environments, you limit your blast radius should something happen. It replaces tedious manual configurations, freeing up the time of engineering resources to focus on business critical and revenue generating tasks. Here is the default structure of an AWS Control Tower configuration. First, you have a management account. This account is the focal point for managing how accounts are built, where they go, and what rules apply to them. The management account also allows you to deploy stack sets which push CloudFormation or Terraform code to a service catalog, forming a tool we call the Account Factory. The Account Factory is what creates future accounts and ensures that they are configured with your predetermined guardrails and security baseline. Single sign-on, now known as AWS IAM Identity Center, is also handled in the management account and can integrate with any identity provider of your choice, in this case, the default directory. In this illustration, you can see a core organizational unit with some specified functions in the accounts attached. Control Tower actually deploys this organizational unit and its accounts by default as soon as you configure Control Tower. The accounts that are provisioned are a log archive account, an audit account, and usually a shared services account, though it's not pictured here. I'll talk about why these are separated shortly. Under the Custom OU, you can see how additional accounts are provisioned, and these can be done based on team, project, or whatever your flavor and organization would be. Logicworks has designed and built dozens of Control Tower deployments, and in our experience, these are some of the most prevalent and widely adopted solutions for our customers. I will talk about each of these in more detail, but to enumerate them, we will discuss the isolation of core functions into separate accounts, utilizing the service catalog and account factory, using a transit gateway, and finally, leveraging the AWS IAM Identity Center for federation and easy access to your accounts. Isolating core functions in separate accounts. It ensures that services or incidents in other accounts will have no effect on these core functions. One cool feature about the core OU is that you can create any number of core accounts that you'd like, even beyond the default. Logicworks typically recommends deploying a network account on top of the default security, audit, logging, and shared services accounts. As you can tell by the names, these each have their own specific functions. For example, the network account would be responsible for housing things like network perimeter firewalls and virtual appliances, allowing you to centralize connectivity into and out of the environment. As you can see in the diagram, some of these core functions are isolated in separate accounts and OUs and are illustrated by blue highlights. This is extremely beneficial in the case of a bad actor who gets access to one account by limiting their activities to the one account as opposed to all of the other accounts, thus preventing more potential damage. Doing this limits your blast radius. Utilizing AWS Service Catalog and Account Factory allows for the automated provisioning of accounts with predefined security baselines that can be delivered in a self-service model. This allows for accounts to be provisioned by business owners quickly and without tying up engineering resources, making account creation fast, easy, and secure. It also allows you to templatize what the underlying network and VPC structure will look like for different categories or types of accounts. This way, multiple teams can each have their own standards and defaults and won't have to worry about reconfiguring a basic or irrelevant template. In this example, we can see that a new development account has been created for a web project. Let's talk about the account structures themselves for a minute. These structures can vary. Maybe you want guardrails preventing the creation of a VPC in some accounts. This is sometimes preferred for serverless applications or accounts that perform administrative tasks. In other accounts, you may prefer a specified VPC standard with connectivity and compute requirements. This is possible with the use of service control policies in the service catalog and Control Tower guardrails. Service control policies can be attached to either the account, OU, or entire organization. While we're on the topic of account structures, did I mention that AWS Control Tower is perfect for SaaS? Being able to automate provisioning of repeatable architectures that are isolated by customer is an ideal use case for SaaS providers. As you can see, this is an example of a single tenant architecture for a SaaS platform, where each customer gets its own designated infrastructure. Single tenant deployments might be manageable in a single account in some small scales. However, it can quickly get out of hand. Therefore, having each customer designated to their own account provides an easy solution that allows you to better manage each customer individually, but also gets around any data separation or isolation concerns from your customers. Use AWS Transit Gateway. Transit Gateway is a centralized routing tool that allows you to manage multiple network connections via a hub and spoke model. Prior to Transit Gateway, there was no such thing as transit appearing between VPCs or other connections, meaning you cannot access VPC A from VPC C through VPC B. This allows you to connect directly to the hub, the transit gateway itself, and then access any attachment to that hub, be it VPCs, VPNs, or direct connects. This makes it significantly simpler for you to manage your connections because there is no need for multiple redundant connections, and it decreases your overall management overhead. Additionally, it also allows for greater visibility and control over your entire network. There are other cool things you can do, like centralizing egress through a single NAT gateway. Typically, you need to deploy NAT gateway in each availability zone of a VPC. A transit gateway allows you to centralize that traffic from one, minimizing your costs. Deployment is simple. You can create a transit gateway in your region and then configure the attachments. Once the attachments are configured, Transit Gateway automatically creates private subnets in each availability zone of your VPC, and then you're off to the races. Use AWS IAM Identity Center, formerly called AWS SSO. This service is designed to centralize access, identity management, and authorization. It essentially manages who has access to what, and with a single sign-on interface, it makes for a better user experience by reducing the number of passwords a user has to remember, as well as the number of password resets when users are having to juggle multiple passwords. As far as identity providers go, there are two options. The first is the default Identity Center directory. This is an out-of-the-box solution and comes packaged with the IAM Identity Center. The second is using a third-party or external provider. Many popular providers integrate directly with IAM Identity Center. Some will utilize the AWS directory service in either a managed capacity or through the AD connector. Either way, there is definitely an option for your organization. Now let's talk about a real-world scenario where Logicworks helped a customer utilize AWS Control Tower to improve the overall organization and visibility of their AWS environment. In this case, 6th Street. They are a global investment firm that utilizes a multitude of serverless applications and needed a centralized logging solution for all those applications running in many accounts across a number of regions. They wanted this so they could log analysis across all of their accounts and applications. Due to the size and scale of their application portfolio, they needed an automated solution that was repeatable and scalable, allowing their business to grow as necessary with the confidence that their environment would securely and reliably scale with them. This is a snapshot of Logicworks' solution. The standard control tower deployment automatically centralizes CloudTrail and config logs from all accounts and all regions into the log archive account. Logicworks went a step further by deciding to consolidate all application logs in the central log archive account for consumption. As you can see on the left, the two application accounts have an identical structure that is automatically deployed with each new account. These logs are automatically pumped into a centralized S3 bucket, which can then be pushed to the log analysis tool of their choice, in this case, Chaos Search, but could also be ported to Splunk, Sumo Logic, or any other third-party log analysis tool. So in summary, AWS Control Tower is a great solution for complex, regulated AWS deployments. It simplifies governance over large multi-account configurations, and leveraging AWS's native automation will further bolster your AWS Control Tower deployment. Thank you all for joining me today. If you like what you heard and would like to hear more, feel free to reach out to us. I'll be available in chat to answer questions. Have a great day.